Can we be real for a second? I want you to think about the last time you looked in the mirror and actually felt proud of who you're becoming. Not your achievements, not your Instagram feed, but you. The person who's been showing up day after day, fighting battles no one else can see. Carrying weight that feels invisible but somehow crushes your chest every morning when you wake up. Yeah, I thought so. It's been a while, hasn't it? Here's what's wild. Right now, as you're watching this, you're probably thinking about everything you haven't done yet. The goals you haven't hit, the person you haven't become, the life you haven't built. Your brain is already making that mental list of all the ways you're falling short. All the reasons why you're not where you thought you'd be by now. And I get it. I really do. Because we've all been programmed to see ourselves as projects, puzzles with missing pieces, rough drafts that never quite make it to the final version. But what if I told you that while you've been busy beating yourself up for not being enough, you've actually been becoming someone incredible? What if all those moments you thought were failures were actually building something powerful inside you that you can't even see yet? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to understand something that changes everything. You're not broken, you're not behind, and you're definitely not failing. You're transforming, and transformation is messy as hell. Let me paint you a picture of what your life probably looks like right now. You wake up, and before your feet even hit the floor, your mind is already racing. All the things you need to do, should have done, could be doing better. You scroll through your phone, and boom, there it is. Everyone else living their best life while you're still trying to figure out what the hell your best life even looks like. You go through your day doing your best to keep it together, putting on a brave face, making small talk, pretending you have it all figured out when deep down you feel like you're improvising every single conversation, every single decision, every single moment. Then night comes, and that's when it gets really loud, isn't it? When you're lying there in the dark, and your brain decides it's the perfect time to replay every awkward moment, every missed opportunity, every time you should have spoken up but didn't, every time you tried something and it didn't work out the way you hoped. Sound familiar? Of course it does, because this isn't just your story. This is the human story. This is what it actually looks like to be alive and trying to figure it out as you go. But here's where we've got it all wrong. We think that feeling lost, confused, overwhelmed, or uncertain means we're doing life wrong. We think that struggle equals failure. We think that not having all the answers means we're somehow defective. But what if struggle is actually the evidence that you're growing? What if feeling uncertain means you're brave enough to step into the unknown? What if all that mess signs is actually the raw material of becoming someone stronger? Let me tell you about Sarah. She's someone I know who spent years thinking she was a disaster. Couldn't keep a relationship together. Kept switching jobs. Felt like everyone around her had this secret manual for adulting that she somehow never received. She'd watch her friends get married, buy houses, have kids, and she'd feel like she was still playing catch up on the basics. But here's what Sarah couldn't see at the time. Every relationship that didn't work out taught her something about what she actually needed. Every job change was her refusing to settle for something that didn't fit. Every moment she felt lost was actually her being honest about not knowing, which is the first step to finding out. 3 years later, Sarah started her own business doing something she's passionate about. She met someone who actually gets her weird sense of humor and her need for alone time. She lives in a tiny apartment that makes her happy instead of a big house that would make her miserable. But the real transformation wasn't in any of those external changes. It was in how she started to see herself, not as someone who was behind, but as someone who was willing to take the long way to find what was actually right for her. That's the thing about growth. It doesn't look like what we think it's supposed to look like. We expect it to be linear, clean, Instagram worthy. We think we should wake up one day transformed, like some kind of personal development butterfly emerging from a self-help cocoon. But real growth is more like renovation. It's loud, it's messy, everything's covered in dust, and half the time you can't even remember why you thought this was a good idea. But slowly, piece by piece, you're building something stronger. Something more you. Something that can actually withstand whatever life throws at it. And you know what's crazy? While you've been focused on all the ways you think you're failing, you've actually been collecting evidence of your own strength. You just haven't been trained to see it, not think about it. You've survived every bad day you've ever had. That's actually a pretty impressive track record. You've gotten through breakups, job losses, family drama, health scares, financial stress, global pandemics, and probably 100 other things that felt impossible at the time. But we don't celebrate survival, do we? We don't give ourselves credit for the sheer resilience it takes to keep showing up when everything feels hard. We don't acknowledge the strength it takes to choose hope when the evidence suggests maybe we shouldn't. Instead, we focus on what we haven't accomplished yet. We compare our behind the scenes struggles to everyone else's highlight reels. We measure our worth by productivity metrics that were designed to make us feel like we're never doing enough. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you acknowledged yourself for something that seemed small but was actually huge? Like the time you chose to have a difficult conversation instead of avoiding it. Or when you said no to something you didn't want to do, even though you felt guilty about it. Or when you tried something new, even though you were terrified of looking stupid. These moments, these choices, they might seem insignificant, but they're actually the building blocks of becoming who you're meant to be. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, growth over comfort, truth over convenience, and not just making a decision, you're literally rewiring your brain to believe that you're someone who does. Hard things dot, and that changes everything. Because confidence isn't something you're born with or something you magically develop when you hit certain milestones. Confidence is the byproduct of keeping promises to yourself. It's the natural result of proving to yourself over and over again that you can be trusted to show up for your own life. That job interview you were terrified of but did anyway, that's evidence. That time you stood up for yourself when someone was treating you badly, that's evidence. That decision to end a friendship that was draining your energy, evidence. That night you chose to stay home and read instead of going out because you knew what you actually needed. More evidence. You've been building a case for your own capability this whole time, but you've been so focused on the times you stumbled that you missed all the times. You found your footing and kept walking. Here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to wait until you feel ready to start living the life you actually want. Readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision. It's the decision to act in alignment with who you're becoming, not who you've been. And who are you becoming? You're becoming someone who doesn't need external validation to know their own worth. Someone who can sit with uncertainty without falling apart. Someone who can fail at something without deciding they're a failure. Someone who can feel afraid and do it. Anyway, you're becoming someone who knows the difference between being lonely, between being busy and being productive, between being liked and being respected. You're learning to trust your own instincts, to honor your own needs, to speak your own truth, even when your voice shakes. That's not small stuff. That's revolutionary stuff. That's the kind of internal transformation that changes not just your life, but the lives of everyone around you. Because when you stop abandoning yourself to make others comfortable, you give them permission to do the same. When you stop pretending to be okay when you're not, you create space for real connection. When you stop apologizing for taking up space, you inspire others to claim their space too. But here's the thing. This work, this becoming, it's not a destination you arrive at. It's not like you're going to wake up one day and think, great, I'm done growing now. I figured it all out. It's more like learning to dance with the uncertainty, to find your rhythm in the middle of the chaos, to trust that you have what it takes even when you can't see the whole staircase. And some days are going to be harder than others. Some days you're going to feel like you've learned nothing, grown nowhere, become nobody special. Some days the old voices are going to be louder than the new ones. And you're going to wonder if any of this personal development stuff is actually real or if you're just fooling yourself. Those days are part of the process too. They're not evidence that you're going backwards. They're evidence that you're human that you're still in the middle of it, still figuring it out, still becoming dot. The difference is that now you know something you didn't know before. You know that you can handle hard days. You know that feelings are temporary, that setbacks are not permanent, that your worth isn't determined by your performance. You know that you're not behind some imaginary timeline, that there's no race you're losing, no competition you're failing at. You know that your path is supposed to look different from everyone else's because you're not trying to become everyone else. You're trying to become you. And that version of you, the one you're becoming, the one you've been building through every choice, every challenge, every moment of doubt and decision to keep going anyway. That person is already here. Not perfect, not finished, not without struggles or questions or days when everything feels too hard, but real, authentic, stronger than you think, wiser than you know, more ready than you feel. Dot. So the next time you catch yourself thinking you're not doing enough, not being enough, not period. Remember this. You are not a rough draft waiting to become a masterpiece. You are not a broken thing waiting to be fixed. You are not behind on some cosmic schedule that everyone else seems to know about, but you are a human being in the middle of becoming who you're meant to be. And that becoming messy and uncertain and imperfect as it is exactly what courage looks like. It's exactly what growth looks like. It's exactly what enough looks like. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You don't need to wait until you have it all figured out. You don't need to wait until you're someone else to start living like the person you already are. Dot. Someone who shows up, someone who tries, someone who keeps going even when it's hard, someone who's been building strength in the struggle, finding wisdom in the confusion, creating hope in the middle of uncertainty. That person, the one who's been there all along, carrying you through everything you thought you couldn't handle, that person is enough. That person is ready. That person is you. And you're doing so much better than you think.